Playwright for beginners. Not only beginners, technically it's for all who are trying to using Playwright for UI automation and API automation. So I'll be creating a series of Playwright test automation suite for UI and API. Let's get started without talking. So pre-requirement will be you have to install Node.js and you have to have the Visual Studio Code as an editor. You can use any other editors, but I like Visual Studio Code. So I'll be open up a Visual Studio Code. Open up a terminal before Visual Studio Code. So you can use terminal, you can use iTerm for the Mac because I'm using Mac. iTerm, it's pretty user friendly, and also you can open up multiple terminals at a time. So let's see what you add. I'm on the users, then Active Directory, then we'll be moving to download folders. Download folders, and I'll be creating a directory called mkdir and Playwright automation suite. Okay, we'll move into the directory Playwright automation suite, then open up with the Visual Studio Code. So let's say VS Code, or just type code space dot, it will open up with the Visual Studio Code as a shortcut from the terminal. As you see, this is a Playwright automation suite. It's very basics folder, which is we just created. We have to trust. We just created, and under the folders, we'll be creating our automation suite. Now we'll be open up a terminal on the Visual Studio Code itself. So in Mac, Control-Shift-tilde. So as you see, the terminal is up and running on my machine. So let's move it to left hand side, or you can close it, debugs. So on the right hand side, we're at Playwright automation suite. Now let's go to the website, Playwright website. I want to walk you through on the website as well as. So Playwright, just click on it, and once you landing to the website, there is a docs APIs Node.js. So what programming language you are using, it really depends on that. So if you are using the JavaScript, so that's when Node.js. If you are using Python. If you are using Java. If you are using C#, it's going to be .NET. So I'm going to be open up developing a framework using JavaScript based. So we'll be using Node.js. Let's click on the docs. So installation. How to install Playwright. So we'll be using npm init Playwright latest. Just copy the code. Going back, paste it on the terminal, hit enter. It's asking for OK to proceed. Yes. What programming language you are going to be using it? So, and under the programming language, basically like JavaScript, you are going to be using TypeScript or JavaScript. I'm going to be using JavaScript. Where to put your end-to-end test? Yes. And add GitHub action workflow, false at this moment. Install Playwright browsers, yes, true. Initializing project, installation Playwright test. Good. So everything it's being installed, as you've seen. Now it's installing all the browsers. It will take a little bit times, but I can skip it, or you know what? I'm going to be stay over here so you guys can see it, the end-to-end scenario as a realistic. There you go. So everything it's good to go now. As you see, everything it's giving me also the options like how to run, how to execute, right? Now from here, we'll be just copying this, all of them, which is commands. We'll be copying and creating a readme.md file on the Playwright suite. So let's add readme.md, and I'll be adding all the command over here in the readme.md file for later on, for later use purpose. So we'll be just type readme.md file. This is going to be Playwright UI and API automation suite instruction. Okay. So now come back over here. We'll be using npx playwright test. So that's mean runs the end-to-end test. So this is going to be run end-to-end test, executing end-to-end test, and this is going to be start with the UI debug mode, executing end-to-end test with debug mode, UI debug, and this one will be make it alignment. This one will be only executing end-to-end test on Chromium headless. So this is all headless. This is basically all headless. Run the test in specific file. Debug, run the test in Playwright debug mode, so you can debug it in Plex code gen. So this is you need as a high priority for beginners. Record the script and copy record script, then copy and paste it into your class file. This is like, as you know, like you are recording and script will automatically generate, then you can paste it in your code. And this is for suggested runner as a headless mode, npx playwright test, headless execute test. Okay, so this is our readme.md file. Now let's go ahead and see some examples. So this is our example test. Let's say it is running up and running or not. So there is a couple of tests. One test example.spec and test with the demo.todo. Now let's go back inside our configuration file. So in order to executing the test or start working on it, you have to understand the playwright.configuration file. This is all the events came from the Playwright test module. Then once you see the module.exports define config, this is started the configuration. So test directory, which means our test, this is the test, and fully parallel. So that's been it is saying, are you going to be running the test parallel executions or not in a multiple browsers? Yes, it says true. This is for CI integration. This is also for CI integration. For now, just leave it. We'll explain later on. This is also for the CI as a worker. Like if you started the multiple worker, it will start at multiple Chromium version or Chrome Firefox version. So this is the HTML reporter. We'll be using more details report later on. But for now, just remember this is for reporting purpose, HTML reporting. And users over here, we will be using inside the users as a base URL inside it, and all the configuration for the common steps. And this is for our browser, like which browser you want to execute. So we'll be using for now, because as you know, like the Chromium, the Playwright, it's supporting Chrome, Firefox, and WebKits. WebKits are just basically as iOS, like as a desktop, Safari desktop, which none of the automation suite at this moment are supporting, except Playwright. Under the project, we'll be comment this all two of them, except Chromium. So we'll be running the Chromium version of it. That's it. Let's go ahead and run this test. Let's see it is running or not. So for running this script, as you know, this is our npx playwright write test. Let's run it, copy and paste. So running two tests using two workers. Okay, we'll find out where is the workers and why it's running two of them. You see that it's two passed, you don't see anything, but in order to open up a report, npx playwright show report. So as this is the HTML version of the report. So this is very basic report. Example has titles, has a titles before hooks, paste, go to, expect, after hooks. That's good, sounds good. Now let's come back over here and this video will be only 15 minutes, not more than that. So let's quit the report. As you see over here, there is a two workers. It says the two workers up and running, two workers, right? Running two tests using two workers. Now let's go back to the configuration file. Let me show you what is that two worker came from. Basically, we are using only one Chromium, which means one, not two. But you see the retry process environment CI2, worker process environment.ci1, right? Let's put them over here. I don't need them, as I mentioned earlier, because this is for only CI. There are all executions. We don't need any one of them, right? So this is only Chromium, and there is nothing over here. Only Chromium. Also, we'll be using expanded Chromium version of it. We'll be seeing on the next lecture. So let's go ahead, run again. npx playwright test. Two tests using two workers, two Chromium. Okay, so everything is passed. This is all about, it's very basic, just install the Playwright and executing the test. We'll be seeing more details in the next lecture. Thank you so much. See you on the next lecture.